Hello and welcome to Menopause Unplugged podcast season 2 with me, your host, Nikki Oliveira. So, guys, we are now in season 2 and things are looking a little bit different this season. So, basically, up until now, we have been interviewing lots of lovely ladies about their menopausal journey and their experience, what challenges they've faced, where they are now, mentally, physically, and it's been lovely. However, that does obviously rely on ladies coming forward to be interviewed. So, going forward now, I'm going to be sharing my knowledge, my expertise as a personal trainer and menopause support coach to really assist you and help you along your way. So, let's get straight into it. And I want to discuss today weight loss and the menopause. So let's do a little bit of myth busting to begin with. So, just because you are perimenopausal or postmenopausal, it does, yes, it does make weight loss a little bit more difficult. However, the fat loss principles are still the same as if you were premenopausal. So what I mean by that is you still need to be in a calorie deficit, which simply means eating less than you consume in order to lose body fat. And you also need to look at what the quality of what you're eating is and the frequency of when you're eating. So let's unpack that a little bit. So, in normal terms, when you want to lose weight, you would first of all address your diet. Are you eating 3 times a day at least? And then, maybe have a snack or so in between. Because in my experience, what I've seen with clients is that you're going a really long time between eating meals. So the effect of that is that, say for instance, you've not had breakfast and then you come to lunch and you think, I'll just have something light. So say maybe you have a ham sandwich and a small tub of soup. By then you don't have a snack either in between. And then by dinner time, you are so ravenous and so hungry and you're dealing with all the stresses of your day that you then binge on things like crisps and chocolate and anything convenient that you can get your hands on quickly just to kind of take that edge off. Or it might be that you think, I haven't got anything prepared for dinner. I can't wait 20 minutes, half an hour to cook something. I'm just going to jump to the takeaway and order something in. And then before you know it, you've stuffed your face, quite right so, because you've not eaten all day. And then you sit on the sofa watching TV, winding down from your day, and you beat yourself up about it. You think, oh, I didn't make the best choices, I wasn't organized. And then we basically start the cycle again. And then you come to coaches like myself and say, I've hardly eaten it. I don't hardly eat much, and I don't see why I can't lose weight. Well, the reason being is your body needs to be working at an optimal level in order to then release fat from the body. So if the body's thinking, I don't know when I'm going to next get food, um, I don't know when I'm going to next get nutritious food, either, then it's not going to release body fat. It really is in survival mode. It's like, I'll take what I can get and I'll store the rest for later in case I don't get anything else again for a while. So initially, the first thing you need to address is eating regularly. So tips are a high protein breakfast. Not only do you get your protein in earlier in the day, which helps with your overall protein goal, you stay fuller for longer. It really ties you over until lunchtime. And it basically it starts off your repair and your muscle repairing, sorry, building and maintaining your muscle mass, shall I say. So protein is very, very important, not just in menopause, but overall for us. So then lunchtime. Lunchtime comes, again, you need to have some sort of protein in there. If you want something light, you can certainly. Don't banish carbs. I know a lot of people turn their nose up at a sandwich and think, oh no, I can't eat that, it's bad. No, two bits of bread is not going to kill any sort of fat loss goal, okay? Um, just make sure whatever you're filling it in is high protein. So it could be that you're having a tuna mayo sandwich with a salad inside it or on the side, and afterwards maybe you're having some yogurt, um, preferably not a flavored yogurt, a plain yogurt, a Greek yogurt that's also high in protein would be best. And then maybe some sort of snack between lunch and dinner. And that will just tide you over, get you over that afternoon slump when you're really at that point looking at having another cup of tea or a cup of coffee with something sweet. If you can replace that with, say, even some fruit and still have your coffee, then great. And then that should then hopefully tide you over until dinner time. And with dinner, guys, preparing in advance, batch cooking, freezing stuff, it all works really, really well. I mean, we're in slow cooker season now, and I know loads of people have a slow cooker or they have air fryers, and you can really prepare a lot of stuff in advance and pop it in the fridge, and it does keep for 3-4 days. That's what I like to do on a Sunday. I like to make a few things beginning of the week, pop them all in glass, sort of Tupperware, um, and or storage containers, and then pop them in the fridge. And then I've got something, especially when I'm running around between two little ones, and yeah, obviously do my wee bits of bobs of work in between. So the quality then of what you're eating is really important. It's not just a calorie is a calorie. It needs to be nutritious. I always state that you should really go with a 80-20 rule. I'm not saying cut out sweets and chocolate and crisps and all of these lovely things completely. I think it all has its place. However, if fat loss is your goal, then it's something certainly not to be having every day. And a lot of your food should then become from whole sources, so as unprocessed as possible. So, when we talk about protein sources, meat, fish, dairy, if you're obviously vegetarian or vegan, then your choices are a little bit more limited. But then you've still got things like tofu, you've got corn, um, you've got beans and pulses as well. Things like your chickpeas and so on, really high in protein, and filling as well. So another little tip there. And then your like carb sources, so things like sweet potato, rice, um, couscous. There's a whole range of things. Bread, of course, being another. And then obviously as well, you've got then space for either a side salad or your greens. I recommend filling half of your plate with either, and that way, because it's low calorie, number one. Number two, it's filling. So you're going to be feeling like you're eating a good amount of food without it being really high calorie, just by filling half of your plate with veggies or salad. So that's a great little tip. But one thing I will say is watch what you're putting on top in terms of dressings, oils, and so on, because they can be quite calorific. So we've addressed what you need to do for weight loss in general. Then you've obviously got if you're perimenopausal or postmenopausal, where that comes into the play. So really, what you're dealing with more than anybody else is all of your menopausal symptoms. So you're dealing with brain fog, achy joints, not sleeping well, all of these things. So what we need to do is address those symptoms to try and make them better, and then follow the normal weight loss principles. So what can you do to control your symptoms? Well, there's a few things. First of all, by addressing your diet and eating a diet rich in whole grains, whole foods, as less processed as possible, is going to ease your symptoms. There's going to be less inflammation in the body, and your body's going to basically be able to take all those good nutrients, all those vitamins and minerals, and basically help your symptoms. It may ease them, it may make them disappear completely. Of course, we've also got hormone replacement therapy, because as we know, when you go through menopause, your hormones, estrogen, progesterone, testosterone, are all decreasing. Um, so your levels are all out of whack, and that's what causes the symptoms. So I know not everyone can take hormone replacement therapy because of many different reasons. It could be that you've got an underlying health condition, it could be risk factors in your family, whatever your doctor has said the reasons why. Um, but for those of you who are okay to take it, I would recommend that you do, because nothing, no amount of diet change and other lifestyle changes is going to replace your hormones, like hormone replacement therapy, which is what you need to do. So I would recommend that you get on that as quickly as you can, because it is very much a trial and error situation. So it may take you a couple of months to find your sweet spot in terms of dosage and preparation style. So because estrogen absorption rate is different on every person. You might be better off having a a gel, say, instead of a tablet or a spray, for instance. So hormone replacement therapy is the other thing. And then on top of that, you really need to address your hydration levels. So aiming between 2 litres and 3 litres of water a day. This is one everybody that nobody really thinks about. I've seen many post in community groups, menopausal community groups, where women are saying, I've done this, I've changed that, I'm doing this much exercise, I'm eating well, and most of the time they're not mentioning what their water intake is. And water, guys, is so, so important. Our bodies are mostly made up of it. Um, we're mostly dehydrated. Most of us have caffeine before we've even had any water first thing in the morning, which dehydrates us even more. And again, it goes back to our body. Our bodies need to work optimally in order to lose fat. So you really need to be up in the water levels. And by doing that, you also find that you're not snacking as much, or you won't be as hungry, because a lot of the time we mistake our hunger pangs for just being thirsty. So a lot of us don't really know what it's like, what those feelings are to be thirsty, because we're not drinking enough water, so we're not regulating our system. As for when you up your water intake, the fact that you will be needing to use the bathroom more and things like that. And I know that can be off putting for some ladies, but however, if you start earlier in the day, it makes things a lot easier to, first of all, get the water in, and the frequent having to run to the bathroom every half an hour or whatever is temporary. Your body will adjust to the new uh, water levels that are coming into your body. So it's just temporary, guys, until things stabilize. Okay, so we've addressed your diet, we've addressed hydration, and also how to basically sort out your symptoms. Okay, so the last piece of the puzzle is exercise, movement. I don't like to just say exercise, because exercise, people think, oh, I'm going to have to, spend hours in the gym, or, that's the first thing that comes to mind. And that's certainly not the case. It could be walking. Um, I know many people own a dog. It's maybe taking the dog out for that little bit of a longer walk, getting your steps in. Um, I myself am a salsa dancer. I used to do, well, pre-babies. I I was dancing 4 or 5 nights a week. Um, Freestyle salsa dancing, so going to salsa clubs and things like that. And it was a fantastic form of exercise. I was burning calories right, left, and centre, and yes, I had a body to be very proud of. Alongside that, of course, I was doing resistance training. I have been since my sort of early 20s, or even slightly before that, actually. So I've been lifting weights regularly, um, which is the best form of exercise for menopausal women, because it's not only strengthening your muscles, it's strengthening your bones, reducing that risk of osteoporosis. Um, our muscle mass decreases as we get older. That it all helps. Um, so yeah, exercise is really important, and I think with many of us working from home or having sort of desk jobs, our movement is really minimal. It's something that we have to think about, actively think about. I need to move my body today. If you're like me and you wear Fitbits or Apple Watches or whatever it may be, it's a really good reminder that of how much movement have you done. I know you can set reminders on these things to like remind you to move. Um, you can also set up reminders though on your phone. There's lots of apps these days as well to remind you to move your body. That's a little hack. Um, but I think mostly the excuse that people have is, I don't have time to exercise. Now, there are so many 15-minute exercise videos available on YouTube from a coach, um, on apps. There is so much out there that it doesn't have to be 45 minutes or an hour. You can do short bursts of exercise, which has been proven to burn calories, get your heart rate up. That's the reason why, things like Fat Burn Extreme, all these sort of programs came about, because it's all like high intensity interval training, like HIIT training. So moving your body, like putting your body under pressure for a short amount of time, and then having minimal rest, and then doing another burst of exercise. It really works, and like I said, it takes no time at all. If, of course, on the days that you do have extra time, then certainly going into the gym or at home, working out at home with a plan. And I can't stress enough, have a plan. Otherwise, you're dilly dallying. You you're probably not getting the most out of that time that you've got to exercise if you don't have a plan or something to follow at least. So that's my tips basically. Um, all of those elements combined will create successful fat loss results for you. Um, it's always best to have a goal to work towards. So with me, I personally like a 6 week goal because any longer than that, and then the motivation starts to dwindle. Um, I think 6 weeks is a really good time frame to develop healthy habits and really, get that momentum going. Anyone that I've worked with for 6 weeks has then been educated and equipped enough to go on and basically keep doing what I've taught them to do. Carrying on those healthy habits, exercising, eating well, hydrating themselves. And that's really it, guys. There's really no magic, pill potion that, no major secret behind fat loss. It's just that fat loss in perimenopause or postmenopause is that little bit harder because you've got a little bit more obstacles in the way in terms of symptoms. Um, and yeah, as we get older, unfortunately, we tend to move a lot less. Um, we just become a little bit more sedentary, and we can't eat the same way that we used to eat when we were much younger. I already feel that, and I'm 35. Never mind 10 years from now plus. I can't eat the way that I used to eat before. So pay attention to portion control. And yeah, it's not all about tracking. I don't want you to think, oh, I'm going to have to track every single calorie that I'm eating. Just be more aware of what you're eating. Um, More so. I mean, I think if you can nail the fundamentals to begin with, as in having your 3 meals a day, having enough water in your diet, moving your body 3 to 4 times a week in some sort of fashion, um, just building in these healthy habits. And of course, sleeping well. We want you to be sleeping well because that's when our bodies repair and our bodies are built um, from a cellular level as well. So sleep is so important for fat loss. So anything that you can do around bedtime routine, so things like limiting how much screen time you have right before bed, how you wind down for bed. Are you literally moving from the sofa watching Netflix to your bed and then lying there thinking about all the things that you've got to do tomorrow, and um your mind starts wandering, or are you lying there scrolling on your phone on Instagram or Facebook? Stop doing that. The most best thing that you can do is switch the TV off at least half an hour before bed. Um, Sit and read a book or journal. You could write down all of the things that you've got to do. Make a list so that you're removing it from your brain and putting it on paper. Um, if your mind's just racing, just write down your thoughts. Write down what it is that's bothering you. Um, you don't have to have a solution, but just brain dump it all down on paper will make you feel better. Things like um, play on all your senses. Is it, smell, for instance? You could be using a lavender based pillow spray. Um, I know I've used one from, I think it's This Works. It's a white bottle, and it's got a lavender scent. It's a pillow spray, and I absolutely love that. It really does send me to sleep. Um, there's candles, nighttime candles that you can burn. Um, of course, soy-based candles are probably the better ones for that, rather than just the traditional normal candle. It could be a relaxing bath. anything at all that helps you unwind. It could be some sort of meditation, it could be a stretching routine. Um, a wee 15-minute stretching routine would also help relax you and bring you down to that state. Dim lighting, you might want to put a side light on or a dimmer light in your bedroom rather than having the big main light on. These sorts of things that all help you sleep. A lot of the time, people have irregular bedtimes. I understand that that's unavoidable if you are a shift worker, but most people can go to sleep around the same time every night. So, for instance, if it's the goal is to be in bed, lights off for 10 o'clock, try and start your nighttime routine an hour before and really start that wind down process from 9 p.m. and then ensure that between 10 and waking up time, whatever that may be, just getting up and ready for work and the day ahead, that you've had at least 7 to 8 hours sleep and hopefully an uninterrupted sleep. Um, but yeah, I think increasing your hydration levels and doing all of these, moving your body, it all helps contribute to sleep. So I think you can start to see that this is one big circle. Everything's interconnected. It all plays into your well-being and you working at your optimal um, best. And yeah, it's all important. And if we want to, remove the excess body weight and body fat, um, and feel better about ourselves, then these are the things that we need to address first of all. And then of course we can refine it as time goes on, tracking our um, tracking our nutrition and having more set goals in place in terms of our exercise. So I hope that's been really helpful and I hope you've enjoyed episode 1 of season 2. If you are on Spotify, make sure that you are hitting that follow button or subscribe, depending on where you are listening to me from or watching me from, in that sense, because this is also going to be on the Menopause Coaching YouTube channel. So, yes, guys, you won't only just be notified of the next episode, um, but you'll also have obviously the list of previous episodes as well that you'll be able to listen to on demand. Well, thank you so much for tuning in, and hopefully I'll be back with a fresh new episode next Friday.